a lot of folks on Twitter, just they're so excited about this guy. And I think there's a lot to talk about tonight, and I think Trump has the momentum. I know the establishment, when the establishment packs the audience, that's almost like watching a football game, and the team you're not pulling for gets cheered for. But I know all the folks at home are watching Trump, and they have so much support for him. And I know that the subject about the Navy guys getting captured will come up tonight, and I want to hear these guys tell us how they would not let this damn stuff happen in the future.
Well, I was going to get into the Navy response, because I've seen some responses from people all over the place about the naval response, and there are a lot of people who are not in the military, who never have been in the military, do not know anybody in the military, who don't know what they're talking about, and it kind of ticks me off. Because, this whole notion that what Kerry is out there saying and doing with Iran over this capture is just absolutely unheard of. But I'll get into that a little bit later into the program. But the Trump thing, look, I know that there's a lot of people calling all over the place, not just calling this program, but I hear them on other programs, calling other programs, who are firmly behind, Donald Trump, which is really kind of interesting, especially when you put in perspective what Nikki Haley said during her Republican response to the SOTU address. Now, you have to understand that Nikki Haley's South Carolina, and I was just in South Carolina, and I'm telling you, the Republicans down there are firmly not in the camp of any establishment candidate. That means that they don't like Bush, they don't like Rubio. And from the polls, if you look at the poll numbers, 51% of South Carolina Republicans are firmly behind Trump and or Cruz. And for Haley to come out and just bash the both of them, especially Trump, is really quite telling and surprising to me, because you're actually alienating half your voting base. Now, that doesn't make any sense. What the hell is the GOP doing?
That's right. And I tell you what, she is the reason, and the way the establishment are reacting to Trump, they are the reason that people feel like they wasted their vote. They wasted their vote because these folks haven't done their job. And no matter how much they bash Trump, no matter how much they say, he's just an entertainer or whatever, don't change the fact that he's genius, that he's hired thousands and thousands of people. He's worth $10 billion, and nobody else on the stage can say they've hired as many people as him, and as big a diverse community of people of all races. I talked to you the other day, and I was so upset about this whole Navy thing, and the way Obama has what a legacy. Picture that sight we looked at with those Navy guys with their hands behind their heads. That to me is Obama's legacy, because it's the leader of those Navy guys, the commander-in-chief, that set that whole thing up anyway. He has put our military in such a weak position. We have a strong military, but I'll be damned if we can see it, because it's hidden behind his weakness.
Oh, yeah,
and
that is. I'm not going to argue with you on that. That is absolutely true. Your military is only as strong as your leaders are. If you have terrible generals, it doesn't matter how strong or how good your military is. It's not going to do very well. And history has shown that there are nations that empires that should have won certain battles, but due to the lack of leadership and their stupid commanders in chief and emperors and potentates and all that kind of stuff, they lost terribly. That history is replete with those types of surprising defeats, and
right.
This is no different from today. You can't have an idiotic commander-in-chief who overrules, basically. No, I know people are commenting also on the Joint Chiefs of Staff and how they pretty much sat there during the SOTU address, stone-faced, with their hands in their laps. They look like, if you didn't know any better, you thought you were looking at the Supreme Court justices. who are known to always sit stoic. It's rare for the Supreme Court justices to respond in any emotional type of way to a SOTU. So I don't care who the president is; they just don't respond. They have to remain to appear neutral. But
you know, Rod, I'm trying to remember who. I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember who the guy was that shouted out in the Senate during Obama's speech and called him a liar.
Oh, it was, Congressman, and I know who he is, and I can't remember his name at the top of my head. Thank you very much for proving that even I am fallible in the morning.
well, I can't remember it either. It seems like his last name was Wilson, but I could be wrong. Anyway, no truer statement could have been made, and at the time he was bashed by everybody, of course. But we have been lied to. We've been lied to from the beginning. This guy, Obama, has not been a uniter with the American people. It's obvious. I mean, not even a uniter around the world. You know, the Middle East is just going crazy right now, and he's the this is his legacy. And Hillary can jump right in the same car with him and head down the road because their legacies are intertwined. And I don't know how this lady could become president is beyond me. I mean, and Bernie Sanders, he's just a joke. Why would we elect a socialist to our presidency is beyond me.
Well, it's due to the fact it's a generational gap. I know, we call Bernie Sanders the grumpy old uncle from Vermont. And the man, what is he, like 74, 72? He's early 70s, early to mid 70s. He's an old guy. And again, I think that's also quite telling of the Democratic Party, because you have all these people that on the left that constantly argued the fact that the Republican Party is made up of a bunch of old white guys. And that's exactly who they throw up on the Democratic side. Well, maybe he's not so rich as far as what rich really is, but he's an old white guy.
Right. And I think a big part of that, Rod, is the colleges now. There's so many liberal professors, and these young kids, that's what they're being taught in school. I mean, and when they come out, some of them, I'm not saying all, there's a lot of bright young people out there that are going to vote for Trump. And that's where I have a lot of belief. But there's, a lot of these kids coming out of college, they've already been taught, we climate change is our first priority, which we all want to take care of our country. But look, is one of your neighbors having their head chopped off, or being shot, or stores being robbed and looted? Does climate change come before that? I don't think so. Our families come first.
Well, no, you have to understand now. There was just something that came out earlier this week that said due to climate change, at some point, mankind is going to do one of two things. Either we're going to develop webbed feet and webbed hands, or we're going to drown and die off. So climate change is going to force evolution to give mankind, humans, webbing in between their extremities. Look, when you have people that are so bent and twisted on a specific, they cannot see the world clearly because they have one agenda. And frankly, this is the clinical definition of unhealthy obsession. When you have
and I'm sorry, but the same folks that are screaming climate change are the same folks that ride down the highway and throw their cigarette butts out the window.
Well,
I've seen it. I've seen a bumper sticker, a Bernie bumper sticker on the back of a car window, and the kids inside throw their cigarette butts out the window. So, let's get it right. Let's get it right. Let's do what we need to do to clean up the environment, but let's not put it the number one priority over our military, our safety, and our country.
Well, look, the left is full of hypocrisy. They don't pay attention to the reality. It's all about feeling. It isn't about logic. But what I find interesting is that a lot of this feeling on the left is not for Hillary Clinton. And I know you got the lamestream media that's really pushing this and trying to make it sound like it's for Hillary. But I'm telling you, if you're paying attention to the reality of the public, the Democratic public seems to be firmly behind a Bernie Sanders, not Hillary Clinton. And
that's right.
Now, regardless of how you feel about Sanders and or Clinton, it really doesn't matter at this point. The point that I'm making is that we've got this massive movement behind outsider candidates from both parties. Now, people have to remember, now, Republicans, you got to remember this. Bernie Sanders, just in order to run for president, just rejoined the Democratic Party. He was an independent for years. He left the party. So you have to understand, this is a true outsider from the Democrats trying to come back into the fold in order to run for the presidency. But he's an outsider, much like Trump and Cruz are. And he's garnered. These two parties have to understand that the American people are sick and tired of the same old party-esque good old boy network. They're tired of the same candidates being foisted upon them. They don't want them anymore. And as far as the Republicans are concerned, they are missing the point when they've been handed over 1,300 seats from local to state to national offices since 2010, that they are saying on the inside GOP that we don't have the power, which is a bunch of BS, because you don't have a bunch of Americans voting out Democrats left and right if you don't have the right message.
And they have to do their job. They have to take that movement and go forward and put stuff on the president's desk. And if you don't want to sign it, raise hell. You know, this is probably real controversial, but shut the damn government down until you get your act together. Just like Trump says, stop the Muslim population from overwhelming us until we find out we're safe and we can do the right thing about safety for our country. Just, you know, do your job.
You know, I hear this all the time that the lamestream media has the American people, you know, eating out of their hand, that type of thing. And the truth is that the American people, especially on the right, well, even on the left, because they're supporting Bernie Sanders, isn't buying the lamestream media at all anymore. Left or right, they're not buying it. And these leaders of these parties need to understand that those voters are out there telling them, we're not buying your BS anymore. And they're telling the Republicans, look, we gave you the power, do something with it. And you're out there telling us that you can't do anything because you don't have the power. BS, we gave you the power. We gave you the largest peacetime transfer of power in the history of mankind. Do not tell the American people you were not given the power to do something.
Well, you know what this points back to a lot to me, Rod, is the fact that, okay, you've got all these super PACs, all these folks that are in bed with this big money, and they are tiptoeing through Congress because they have already promised things that they have to fulfill. And Donald Trump is not that guy. He's not that guy. He's going to win this thing. And I know you have to be open to different folks, Cruz and whoever, and it should be that way. Radio is a special place for that. And I thank you so much, man, for giving us an opportunity to get on here and voice our opinions and speak our hearts, because your show is I don't know, man. I'm new to it. I'm new listening to you, and I just love the way this show's going down. It's great.
I really appreciate that. I really do. It's good to hear. It's nice to hear that I'm actually reaching people. It's really appreciated.
Well, I know you're going to have Sabine Durden on here, and what a great lady, man. What a great lady. And then in the future, Chris Peranto, the hero. And this show is a great platform for those folks. Get the message out there how much we love our country and our people. And we don't mind immigration and immigrants, but we want legal immigrants. We want this country safe. My priority for this United States is safety. Safety and a strong economy, and we got this thing licked.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I would definitely have to agree. I do thank you for your call. Call back anytime, sir. It's always great to talk to you. Folks, we'll be right back.